What up? We back. Just had a technical difficulty. A little pissed. Just got out the movie theater from seeing Northman. I did not know this movie was going to get a wide theater release. Did not know that. I don't know if the Lighthouse got it. I think that was limited release. I don't remember seeing it anywhere in Greensboro. So, this is the first Robert Eggers movie I've gotten to see on a big screen. And I'm glad it was this one. Let me tell you something. My history of Robert Eggers, though. The Witch. Love it. I love the slow burn. I love just his slow, methodic take on movies. I love how he dives head first and just drowns in all the lore of the folk legends and the myths. Just everything that he researches, he just truly embodies in his work, and that is just something I'm always going to appreciate artistically. And just how he's able to bring, because there's certain cultures that, I'm still talking about the witch at this point. There's certain cultures who have stories about witches, like different from other people that live in different cultures, and the way he's sort of able to take bits from those and put them all into one movie is just really fucking awesome. And just the way that movie ends is just bonkers. Kind of like all of his movies up to this point, really. And it's the same thing with The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse, he brings in so many things. Fantasy shit from mermaids, like Greek mythology, like shit like Poseidon, even like modern legends. Like there's been stories of lighthouse workers that have gone to these remote lighthouse locations that have like rumors spread around them about them being fucked up, and that they were there for like weeks, and the entire time it was storming. And people that lived like on shore, like in the mainland, you can see like the island, like off the coast. And when they got back from doing their service at the lighthouse, and they were telling the people like how just terrible it was and how the storm was just nonstop, like how did they get through it? The people on the mainland, they were like, what storm are you talking about? There was no storm for the last 2 weeks. And he even put that into the lighthouse, just that idea of everything that they were experiencing, from the Greek shit, the mermaid, to even the storms. Like, was any of that shit real in that movie? And of course you have the wonderful performances of Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, you can't get any better than that when you're asking from that movie. Now let's get into the Northman. This was, when the movie ended, I just sat there and I kind of just stared at the credits to see everybody involved. I didn't sit through all the credits. Like, as soon as the shit actually started rolling and it wasn't just pop-ups, like, that's when I sort of got up. But, yeah, I had to see who did the music, cinematography. I had to see all that shit, because this movie, technically speaking, is quite a masterpiece. I lost track of how many times, and not even just in action scenes, really. I might have to watch it again, but it really feels like every scene, there's maybe like 2 or 3 cuts. Like, most of the scenes in this movie, it feels like stage play. Like it feels like a lot of this shit. Like maybe not the action, like when they're going through villages tearing shit up, but maybe like the last fight at the gates of hell, and certain scenes with him and his mother, Nicole Kidman, Amleth, and his mother. It's just so many parts felt like a play. So many shots, lingering shots, felt like paintings, if you were to just freeze frame some of these shots and just put them up somewhere, you could get away with saying that somebody painted that shit. The whole movie is just beautiful. One other thing about this movie, the sound design, especially when there's action going on or a lot of psychological shit going on with like hallucinations and stuff like that. It is some very trippy shit. I am honestly very surprised this movie wasn't. I'm not surprised it wasn't filmed in IMAX. That doesn't need to be filmed in IMAX. But I'm surprised like he didn't put this on IMAX screens. That's just baffling to me. I would have definitely paid fucking $18 to $20 to see this movie in IMAX. I'm tiptoeing around if I want to do spoilers or not. It's a classical revenge tale. King has son. King promises son the kingdom and land. King has brother. Brother kills King. Son runs away. And I actually love the mantra, like, I will avenge you, father. I will save you, mother. I will kill you, Fuhrer. Yeah, that shit was tight. This whole movie is just straight butter. You guys know what that is? Like, it's just smooth. It's straight butter. And I saw a lot of people talking about how, like, some of the stuff, like, it doesn't mix well. Like, a lot of the fantasy doesn't mix with some of the grounded aspects. And I don't necessarily think that at all. I think, like, all of it mixes well. And I'm gonna be honest, I know a lot of shit about, like, witches. So when I was watching The Witch, it was a lot of, like, kind of like watching a Marvel movie, like saying, like, oh yeah, that shit's cool, like, okay, I like how he did that, like, oh shit, he brought that in, okay, that's awesome too. It was kind of the same thing with The Lighthouse. Like, if you know Greek mythology and you just read a bunch of shit and regarding, like, with the sea and lighthouses and, you know, mythologies and shit like that, then there's a lot of Easter eggs that Robert plants in his movies, and this one especially has a lot of them. And I don't know Norse mythology, shit about Valhalla, Vikings. I don't know, like, a lot of anything about that. This is gonna be embarrassing for me, but the most I know is shit that I've seen in the latest iteration of God of War, when they bring Kratos into the Norse world. And I know a lot of people that, like, study. I've watched, like, there's a few. I wish I could shout you guys out. There's a couple guys I watch on YouTube that are, like, very big into, like, Norse history, and, like, that they live and breathe this shit, and that's just what their channel is about. And they shit on God of War and all types of things, like the show Vikings, all that mainstream stuff that's related to Vikings. They shit on it, and I don't blame them, because I'm like that with my comics and shit. If you know the source material and you know what they're borrowing from, and they're just running with it, doing whatever the fuck, then yeah, it should piss you off. And I'm kind of excited to see what they have to say about this movie. But seeing just some of the things from that game, God of War, just being in this movie, just was actually really, really cool. And one of those things was the birds of Odin. They didn't really do much in the game. They were really just, like, collectible type shits. You just sort of ran around, you looked up in branches, you looked up in high places, and you saw these glowing blue birds, and then you would hit them with the axe, and there's, like, I think 50 of them in the game or something. But in this movie, he utilizes them, like, how I'm assuming they were utilized, like, you know, actually in the stories back in the day from their time period, how they were used for guidance in a way. And I thought that was really fucking awesome. I don't know the lore and everything behind whatever character Bjork was playing, but I really enjoyed her part in the film. I love Willem Dafoe's part, even though it was very, very short. I like Anya Taylor-Joy. I knew there was going to be some type of love, like, arc in this movie, and I think he handled it well. I don't think it was a nuisance. And there's some movies that tread this genre that always have to have some type of love thing in it, and the shit don't work. It just deteriorates. It just deters from everything else that you want to focus on. I don't think it took away from anything in this movie. I think it was perfectly fine. What else? I love the Valkyrie shit. That was some things I actually didn't know about Valkyries. I didn't know that they were kind of just used to transport you to Valhalla. I don't know if I should say Valhalla or Valhalla, because that's how they were saying it in the movie. But I really loved just all the fantasy shit in this movie. Like the king's tree, and just showing like the family tree and like the heirloom and just all this shit and all of that. I thought that was really cool. Just, yeah, for sure. The imagery in this movie, yeah, it's beautiful. I think one of my favorite shots is when he's dreaming on the boat, and it does that. I don't know if it's, I'm not too keen on the technical terms for the movie industry. I'll say an establishing shot, or maybe just like a wide shot. It was just the boat in the foreground going to the king's tree, like in the background, and it like had all that, like the stars and space and shit behind it. It was just fucking beautiful, man. And this is honestly what I'm gonna wrap this review up with. I don't think any of the shit I said when it came to like the lore and stuff and what he put in the movie, I don't consider that spoilers. Like, there's shit in this movie that like some people will see coming and some people just won't see coming. That's the stuff I'm not going to talk about. But here's one thing I do know. And I've been thinking of like a script for Dark Souls in my head for the longest now. And I'm not much of a director. Like, I'm more like I write. I love writing. After watching this movie, y'all, Robert Eggers, either he needs to contact Miyazaki, or Miyazaki needs to watch this movie and contact Robert Eggers. There is literally moments where some of these scenes feel like video game cutscenes. Some of them almost ripped, like, say, like out of Sekiro, but just placed in like just with a Viking layout now, instead of it being, Japanese and like samurai and shinobi and shit. Like, it really felt that way, especially with like the long, like, one takes. Like, it really felt like we were going almost from like just like two NPCs talking, and then some shit would happen, and then like your camera's behind, like the camera is behind your character and it's following, and you're sneaking like under a building and shit, and you're seeing everything that's going on in the background. There's so many moments like that in this movie that I know, just like kind of like with Alejandro Iñárritu. I hope I'm not butchering that, but with his movie The Revenant, how most of the action scenes I know took weeks, maybe months of just straight rehearsing. It has to be the case for this movie. And just like some of the character interactions, like there's a place in the movie where he has to go retrieve. It's almost like retrieving the coiled sword from Ludek's Gundyr in Dark Souls 3. Like, Amleth has to go. I don't know if he's fighting like his dead father or something, but he's fighting like a long, like, diseased warrior. But when he tries to take the sword from him, he comes back to life, and he has to defeat him to get the sword. And it's just shit like that. Like, it's shit like Bjork's character. There's another character that has the head of a character from earlier in the film that you'll meet, that I'm not going to say who it is. And like, there's just so much Dark Souls shit in this movie. He's the perfect man to direct it. It's like what people said about Zack Snyder when they watched Watchmen. When motherfuckers watched Watchmen, people were like, this dude needs to do a Batman movie. When you watch The Northman, you're going to think, if you're a Souls fan, you're going to think, this motherfucker needs to do a Dark Souls movie. This dude, or an Elden Ring movie, like, whatever. Like, he has the eye, he has, and just the way he writes his scripts and the way he does character interactions, like it feels like a Dark Souls game. And just and even something like when like they're explaining like there's like this montage of like the weapon that I was just talking about in that scene, like that sword there's like a montage of it being forged, and like just this fucking awesome monologue from the character, I don't remember his name, that Amleth was talking to. And he's just like monologuing and like giving you this exposition of like how the sword came to be and just how strong it is and what it's like. It's just so, like, when you're listening to it, it sounds like Dark Souls shit. Like, this movie is Dark Souls shit without it, but it's you know, without the tag Dark Souls. It really is, and it's fucking awesome. The action's awesome. The writing's awesome. I'm gonna have to obviously watch it again. This is just me coming straight out the theater, and I can see. I'm glad Robert Eggers was able to get this in a wide release, and I'm glad I was able to actually get out and actually like have the money to be able to see it and support him, because I don't necessarily feel like I was supporting him watching it streaming, but I'm glad I was finally able to actually get out and do this. Robert, I can't wait to see what else you release. Because when you really think about it, you've done a horror movie, just a conventional horror movie in The Witch, conventional by your standards, right? You've done a psychological thriller with The Lighthouse, and you've done an epic revenge tale, an epic action revenge tale with The Northman. And in each one of these, you just keep playing with different mythologies, man, and you're piquing my interest. You're really piquing my interest. I'm really excited to see like where you're gonna go in your next movie. Are you gonna do like Egyptian shit, or what are you gonna do, you know? Like, I'm just so excited, just brainstorming what you're possibly gonna bring to the table next. You know, I haven't felt that in a long time. And here's another thing I haven't felt in a long time. There's been so many movies in the theaters, with the exception of The Batman. Sorry, The Batman. I don't even think I've reviewed that. I need to review that, actually. But The Northman and The Batman have been two movies that I've seen in a very long time that not only met the expectations I had, but damn near exceeded them. So good job, Matt Reeves. Good job, Robert Eggers. So, right now I'll give this movie a 5 out of 5. I'm gonna watch it again. Maybe we'll come back for a spoiler review and have a higher understanding of it. But for right now, 5 out of 5. I really do fucking love this movie. I'll say 4.5 out of 5. My only problem, honestly, if I'm being real, is maybe the pacing. I feel like the final fight, the final battle, with how awesome it was, I feel like it should have been just a little longer. And that, I feel like that's where most of these scenes, and anybody who watches it, I think you'll understand. Like, once you get to certain scenes and they play out, and then it just gets to a next scene, you're like, oh shit, okay, well, I know this movie's 2 hours and 16 minutes, but damn, somehow even some of these scenes felt a little rushed. Like, I wouldn't have minded. Hey, The Batman was 2 hours and 55 minutes, Robert. Hey, I wouldn't have minded another 30 minutes on this. And I was watching a reviewer, Jarrell's Alexandria, and he said, apparently, that you said, Robert, that there's like an extended version of this movie somewhere. I need it, because there's some scenes that definitely feel unfinished, especially the final fight. If that final fight is longer, I will definitely get a fucking 4K Blu-ray, whatever the fuck, to watch the extra long version of this movie. Oh, please. I do not mind at all. Guys, it's been 20 minutes, talking too long. My mother is hitting me up. It's kind of pissing me off. I'm going to go get some food. I'm going to get high. Watch this movie high. Great experience, y'all. But all right, man. Y'all take it easy.